Welcome to Two Souls Podcast, a podcast to shift, impact, empower, and disrupt your consciousness, ultimately allowing you to thrive in this human experience. Now here are your hosts, Amber Megenhauser and Angela Blaha. Welcome everyone to Two Souls Podcast. We are so thankful that you are here. Good morning, Amber.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. What do we get to dive into today?
Today, I thought we would talk a little bit about the awakening. So many people say they're awakening or they have awoke, but what exactly does that really mean?
Ooh, that's a great topic. What does it mean? What do you think it means? What does it mean to you? What does it feel like it means to you?
To me, awakening feels like awakening to yourself. It's an awareness to yourself instead of everything around you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I see it, is it's just you're aware. That's the first word. Aware, that you're aware of the way that you think. You're aware of the way that you feel. You are aware of your body, what happens if your body has pain, you're asking it questions like what's causing the pain, and you're willing, that's the second word, awake and willing, to dive into whatever it is that comes into your awareness. So those belief systems that we don't even think about belief systems. We don't even think about the things that we believe in. But when we awaken to the fact that we have a belief, and then we get to make a decision. Decision's the next word. Then we get to make a decision about if we actually want to still believe in that, or if we want to change our belief system. But it's a never-ending deal.
I think that is I think with people too, people don't understand that they can change their own belief system. We have so many things taught to us that we actually think that has to be our belief system. I think that's part of the awakening too, where you actually take control of yourself and say, do I believe this? Is this my belief or is this somebody else's? Because that was a huge reality check for me, through my awakening process.
Yeah. Yeah. It's we take them for granted. We don't even give a second thought to the things that we believe, right? We don't even question them. And that's part of the problem, is that we don't question them. Right? We just randomly say, okay, this is what I believe, but
Absolutely.
Why do you believe in that kind of a thing? Right? Why do you believe the grass is green? There's a indigenous group in Southern America who don't have the word green in their vocabulary, so they can't see green. So who says that the grass is green? I mean, why do we have, right? That's a belief system. The grass is green. It's a belief.
Yeah.
But in some cultures, they don't have the wordage for it, so they don't see greens. They see different levels of blues. But do we ever question those kinds of things? No, we don't question those.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
No. So being on an awakening journey, it's a never-ending journey. You can't say that you're awoke, you're woke up now. No, there's always new awarenesses. If you're saying that, you're probably not awoke as much as you think you are. But we are always on an awakening journey. And if we are being in control of ourselves and being 100% responsible and authentic with who we are, it's a constant awareness, right? Every single day, there's a new awareness, or every moment of every day, sometimes there's a new awareness.
Yep. I think exactly what you said is so true, that people look at it as oh, I'm woke now. That you don't actually think that it lasts forever. You know, like I've been in this journey for 4 to 5 years now, and like I every day you learn something new. Every
Yeah.
single day. Like that's what it's about, like growing that awareness. So like the whole awakening is like it's your whole life. It's not like
Hmm.
something that happens overnight.
Right. It's not an event. See, I think that that's where we sort of set ourselves up to fail
Yeah.
in this awakening process is we think that, oh, okay, well, once I get here, then I'm done. No. Once you get there, then there's another
Yeah.
step, and then there's another, there's another adventure to go on, or there's another, more people to meet that can, help you bring in even more awareness. So that it's not an event, it's a
Yeah.
process, it's a lifelong process.
You know, and if everybody looks to their life, it's like that's just it. You can actually see it through every stage of your life. Like it's
Hmm.
no different than growing. You know, we all grow every day. Same thing. We awaken more and more every day. It's like growing your awareness to become your best self.
Yeah, I think that where the problems come in is when we stop growing and we start dying. From the day that we're born, we are programmed to die, literally. And for a good
Mm,
portion of us, we believe
yeah.
that after our formal education years, that we don't have to learn anything anymore. That's the day that you should
That
say,
is,
oh, right? Why would we think that?
yeah,
Why are we programmed
absolutely.
to believe that education is the only way that we can learn and grow? That's not true. That's a lie. That's one of the
No.
biggest lies that serves humanity, that has been given to humanity, and we believe it. Oh my gosh, we believe it. It's such a lie. And that's when we start to die. When we don't put ourselves into situations that grow and expand us, and we're just in our patterns, in the hamster wheel of regurgitating everything in our life, we begin to die. And then we become these zombies, right? Because we're just going through the motions. We don't have to have any, we don't think, we don't feel nothing. We just become a zombie. And then literally you end up dead.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's like I could just see this all playing out, but you are completely right. That is so crazy. Like why do we live to die? We're supposed to live to live.
Right? Well, it's the limitations. It's the
Yeah.
whole construct of having belief systems. The reason that we have belief systems is so that we die. Humans weren't really made in the beginning to die every 50 to 100 years. We were really made to live for thousands of years. I mean, every ancient text tells you that. But we've completely shut that information off from the ancient texts about how to live as a human being. We've completely shut those down. And we are, and what happened was we created these belief systems that started to limit the knowledge and the wisdom from the ancients, from our ancient ancestors. We started to create these belief systems that would limit us. It's the limiting process that creates death, the idea of death. It's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
We don't actually have to die. And so when we start on this awakening kind of a process, this awakening journey, um, we start to ask the questions, right? And it can drive us crazy. Like literally, it can drive us in, or we think that we're crazy. But really, what's happening is we're awakening to truth that goes beyond the belief systems. Now, for some people, that is just way too much. Like they just are so ingrained in the belief systems that, going beyond them is just, it's like a foreign concept. It's like an alien concept, right? But for others,
Yeah.
like, I was just at my hairstylist yesterday and she's beginning to, work the process and awaken to her own self. And her main complaint was her nervous system. And I know that a lot of people out there are having real issues with the nervous system. Like they have so much anxiety, or they have depression, or they just, and it's really about finding the truth about the questions that they're asking. So by the time I left 3 hours later, which is a long time to be in but it was so enjoyable. Like we didn't even know that there was a time frame, right? So the point I'm making is when the questions start to come, you need someone in your life who can actually give you some truth that resonates with you, that literally calms that nervous system down. If you're looking into, if you're
Yeah.
looking, right, you're asking the questions, but you're not getting the answer, that nervous system is going to get riled up. You're going to have more anxiety. You're going to have more depression. You're not going to have the truth of what your soul knows, of what your body knows, and the body's going to respond.
So how can people find those people to help talk to them on a soul level?
Well, you just need to, I mean, you don't need to look any further than the podcast, right? I mean, here we are. We're right here.
That is very true. Yes,
And we do serve people.
absolutely. Like we do. And going back
Mhm.
to our previous podcast, I'm telling you guys, season 1 is phenomenal on real basic steps on how you can awaken to all your potential.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's so many different
Yeah.
examples that we gave, and
Yeah.
yes.
The other thing is to, seek out people who have a different perspective than you do. Like if you're looking for answers and all you're getting is the same perspective, you're not growing and expanding. You need to find somebody, and Google is full of them. You need to find somebody who has a different perspective. However, if they don't resonate with you, or if you're like, yeah, I don't really get this, and they can't explain it, then stop seeing them and find someone else, right? Like you need to find somebody who can literally explain the entire process, because the nervous system will not relax. It will not relax until it finds truth.
Yep.
And the
You
part
are
about it,
completely right.
yeah, the part about it that's really interesting is the ego cannot defend truth. The ego is here to sort of protect us and keep us safe in our belief systems. Well, that's what it does, is it protects belief systems. It does not and cannot protect truth. And the body is telling us right now, search for the truth. These belief systems no longer serve us in our evolution. And the body is what's pulling or driving us into truth, which is why we're having so many mental crises right now. It's why we're having so much anxiety, depression. It's why we're having so much illness, right? Because the body we
Yep.
need to be paying super attention to the body, not just what we're putting into the body, but paying attention to the body, like real attention to the body, because it is what is driving us forward into the evolutionary process. We can't think our way out of the body. That's a good one. I should write that one down.
Yeah.
We cannot think our
Yeah.
way out of the body. The body is the driver right now. And we need to be we need to be having hyper awareness to what the body is trying to tell us, because it holds all the memory.
Yes. Absolutely. And okay, so can you explain that a little bit more to people? Like, it's not about your body telling you that you have a pain somewhere. It is about,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it is about diving deeper to figure out what emotion you actually have to heal. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I both know that actual all physical pain is really just an emotion that we need to deal with, whatever it is, wherever it is. I mean, that's really what we need to heal up and what we need to be aware of. It's not
Mm-hmm.
the awareness of, oh my gosh, I have a headache, or oh my gosh, my knee hurts. I must have stepped funny. That's not the case. Like people just you're knowing about the body isn't about knowing that. It's about actually figuring out what is coming up for you and what you need to heal.
Mm-hmm. It's real simple. You
I
just
just kind
ask
of
the
wanted to
body.
bring, yeah,
Yeah, you ask the
yeah.
body why it has
I
pain
just want to
there. Like
bring,
like your knees. Let's use your knee for example. The knee came back, right? The pain in the knee.
yep,
Okay.
mm-hmm,
Have you figured out what the reason is?
yep.
What is it?
I have. I think, you and I are working on some new business things, and I think that the more I sat with this, I kept thinking that it was more about like a money situation that um I money is something that I like struggled with in my past. So I had at first thought it was this. And after I sat with it multiple times, I finally asked the right questions, and I have figured out that this inflammation in my knee that keeps coming back, it's actually me being afraid of myself and how successful I can be. That
Mm-hmm.
fear of being successful and what it looks like.
Yeah, so you finally allowed yourself to admit that you're afraid to be successful, right?
Yes.
When that happens, like there's no more healing that needs to be done. It just heals itself. Like the pain goes away. So
Yep.
what's your knees like now? What's your knee like now?
It actually last night it was really really bad, but today it is a little bit better.
So last night you
And
had
I've figured this. Go
yeah,
ahead.
there was stress last night because you had a family meeting, right? And so
Yep.
the stress of the unknown and you know how everyone's going to respond to you know what's happening. That is you know that's the nervous system saying we need to you know like pay attention here, right? If we're going to be successful, who are we going to
Yeah.
bring with us?
I'm absolutely going through that right now.
Yeah,
And it looks different all the time.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's
Like, okay,
emotions.
so this whole process with all of this has actually been a crazy, phenomenal, weird experience because I mean, there's been blocks, there's just been so many ahas with, oh yeah, that was creating this block. Oh, you know what? Now I'm blocked on this area. Like, what the heck? What am I not seeing? And then it's all of a sudden it's just like this bigger plate, and I'm like, okay, I need to take that out of the equation. And then when you adjust things like that, you just everything becomes so much clearer.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. And clarity is what we all dream of, right? Like that's our main goal. Like we all want to just be clear all the time. Well, the only way to have clarity is to
Yeah,
work through the process of understanding the emotions, what the blocks are. And you know, we don't really have blocks. That's an old paradigm. We don't really have blocks. We just have things that we don't have in our awareness. Okay, can you see how
yes.
that just
It's almost
relaxed?
like a
Like, yeah, the energy of that just completely
yeah,
relaxed.
yeah, it did. I was gonna say something and now I can't remember what it was because I totally relaxed. So
Yeah, see, that's what happens when you're totally relaxed. It's like nothing is important. It's like the entire nervous system says, okay, we're safe. And then, you know, the body relaxes
yeah,
and, like, right, all that stress gets released.
yep,
So, yeah. So it's very simple to be on this awakening journey, right? And it is a journey, it does not end, it's constant evolution. Like, I think that that's the one
yes,
thing that we don't want to admit to ourselves yet is that we are on a constant evolutionary journey, right? People
yes,
talk about, you know, being on the journey, but what is the journey? Well, it's constant evolution, it's constant awakening, it's constant awareness about, you know, releasing from those belief systems. That's really what awakening is. It's releasing yourself from the belief systems that you don't even understand or don't even question, right? So get really good in critical thinking for yourself. Like that's how to dive into, if you're just starting on the journey, then start questioning. Why do I believe this? What's the purpose for me to believe in this? Is there a purpose for me to believe that the grass is green? Well, for me, it differentiates between land, trees, and the sky. You know, it's just another spectrum within my ability to see physical things that differentiates something. So yeah, it's a little bit important for me to be able to see the different. Can I just see in black and white? Yeah, you know. So there's, I mean, it's, I can still differentiate. It just brings a different perspective.
Yeah.
Is it
I
important
think
to
that's what
believe?
people are scared of, though.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're
It
scared
be,
to question
yeah,
the
being
beliefs
scared of
because, yeah.
questioning those beliefs, I think it's actually part of the hardest process and
Mm-hmm.
it's only because we can't believe we actually believe that. You're just like, what the heck? Like, why do I believe that? It's actually kind of mind blowing. And you do start to question every single thing and you have in your life, the people you have in your life, everything around you, you question everything. So I think a part of the awakening too is just like, that's just it. You question everything in your life. Is this mine? Is this somebody else's? Do I actually enjoy this? Like, we talk about getting an emotion sheet and really actually looking at different words, not just happy, not just sad, not just
Mm-hmm.
good, bad. We use really basic words for emotions, but I think that is part of people's struggle with this too, is they don't really know how to define like what an emotion is. So I think that's part of the awakening process too, is actually like figuring out what it is, like, because we're so trained to just be like, it's either like a good or bad deal. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, it, it's not phenomenal or blissful or fantastic. It's like you need them really high vibration words in your vocabulary to actually make you see a different avenue.
Right.
So I think,
Yes.
to me, like the awakening too is like it is literally awakening to all of your surroundings and figuring out if they are either helping you or holding you back.
Yes. The other part of that is once we start to question things, you know, if we have real strong family beliefs or if we have real strong religious beliefs or political beliefs, we feel an abandonment. And then the guilt comes in, right? Like, oh, if I change my
Mm,
belief about this, I'm
yep.
going to, you know, my family won't love me anymore. And you know, and then what happens? I'm out here in the cold all by myself. I've been abandoned. At least that's where our thoughts go, right? Is that really what happens? It hasn't been
Yep.
my experience that that's really what happens, but that's what our mind tells us, right? And
Yeah.
you know, that's what the stylist was expressing yesterday, and that's why her nervous system is so activated, is because she believes that once she changes who she wants to become, there's an abandonment that's going to happen. Um, you know, and the fact that her mother tells her that that she's different, right? I mean, it's like a razor knife. It's like a razor. Somebody's just cutting you, right? Like when somebody tells you you're
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
and you have not admitted that to yourself, it's like somebody just cut you with a razor. And so we have these kinds of
Yeah.
like shards that get created within our energy, and we don't know what to do with them because nobody ever tells us, you know, it's okay to be different. It's okay to change your belief system. And, you know, if people don't agree with you, then it's still okay. it's still okay. We don't have to be like gangsters, you know, in cults believing in
Yeah,
one single thing. It's okay to have different belief systems. You know,
absolutely.
it's like the people who believe that the earth is flat, right? Like those people come from a perspective
Mm-hmm.
of that there is that we are they believe in projection, right? They believe that that this everything is already it's like a movie screen. We're just playing out our roles here. And because of that belief system, you can see the earth as flat. I mean, that is a real thing. You if you come from that belief
Yeah.
system, right? If you come from the world is round, you don't necessarily see the projection that's happening here. It's like life gets, like you're creating life versus a projection of life. And so both are very valid, but both are very immersed in belief systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so in order to
So it's actually
awaken,
all about,
go ahead.
no, go ahead. In order to awaken, you have to figure out what your own belief system is.
Exactly. And you have to be open to other belief
And not,
systems.
yeah, yeah. And you have to not be afraid to be judged by other people. I think this is one of the things that people struggle with the most is they're so worried about what other people think. But
Mm-hmm.
like, why do we care? Like, one of my biggest things is what other people say about me is none of my business. It doesn't define who I am, and it does not say anything about who I am. It's their opinion of me, and they are entitled to that opinion. But when you are so strong within yourself, like the things people do judge you for or say, you don't even care because you know exactly who you are. That is awakening.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, yeah. So one of my new neighbors a while back said to me, she goes, "There's something about you. Like I don't know what it is, but there's just something about you." And I said, "Well, it's the fact that I know who I am. It scares a lot of people." And she goes, "Oh my God!" She goes, "That's what I want to be." And I said, "Well, then know who you are. Take the steps to know who you are. Like dive into your emotions, dive into the things that you believe in, and get comfortable with who you are." Once that happens, like the world could
Yeah.
crumble around you. You wouldn't even know it, right? Like I don't pay any
Yeah.
attention to the world any longer.
Me neither. I can't. It actually, after you, okay, so this is part of an awakening too. So after you have awoke to so many things and you have so much awareness about yourself, watching things in the world, you realize how much of it is just a conditioning.
Oh yeah, you see all the fear, right? And the fear
Yeah.
is the
Yep.
conditioning. I mean, that's the basis of the conditioning
Yeah.
is fear, keep you in fear. And it's like, wow, did you see how
Yeah.
that played out? I mean, that those are the kind of conversations we have is like, did you see how that played out with all that fear? And like, this is how the whoever's doing the controlling is steering the mass consciousness into more and more and more fear. I mean,
Yeah.
it's history. We can look over humanity's history and over the entire thing. It's always all of these major things that happen in our world are based in fear by someone who wants to dominate and control you. Once you
Yep.
once you see that, once you awaken to that fact, like you don't allow things to dominate and control you any longer.
Yeah. Yep.
But we have a
Yep.
lot of fear.
Absolutely agree.
We have a lot of fear about moving into total control, total responsibility, because we don't have very
Yeah.
many leaders in the world trying to, you know, teach that.
Totally agree.
Even our school systems
That is
teach
what
dumb.
Angela teach.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's just it. Like, we need to teach these that's where it should begin, is the schools. Like,
hmm
could you imagine if they actually implemented um a 15-minute meditation in the beginning of school and had kids actually pull their energy into themselves and create their own awareness, how amazing these young kids would be with their own awareness.
And their creativity and their knowledge about who they are and knowledge about,
Yeah,
judging. Like, yeah, everything would be,
yeah,
the world would change. Hmm.
it would. It really would.
Yeah. And we don't even have to call it meditation. We
Well,
could
that
just
was
call
a
it silence.
fantastic. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, you're completely right. It's not even meditation. It is just like taking that moment of silence and actually listening to yourself. That is
Hmm.
every 90% of the world do not take that, and the amount of self-care you get from actually listening to
Hmm.
yourself, man,
Hmm.
it would be a whole new world.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That was an amazing topic. Thank you. We'd like to thank all of our listeners for joining in with us. If you have any questions or topics you would like us to discuss, please feel free to reach out to Angela or I. We would love to visit with you. Until next time, have a super fantastic day.